Welcome to In the Garden. I'm your host, Joyce Hochsprung, and today we're here at Uncommon Farm with Andrea Patterson. And she's going to give us a tour of her lovely gardens.
Yep.
Take it away, Andrea.
Well, we'll start. I call my garden an informal, comfy cottage garden because I like to try a lot of stuff. So we'll start with this one. And I do a lot of clematises. I think I've got 50 clematises.
Wow.
So I'll start with one. This is Rigoshi, and she was only supposed to be 6 feet tall. But, you know, she's taken off a little bit. It's a non-climbing.
I have a Princess Diana that was only supposed to be 6 feet.
I think I have that.
And it's closer to 8.
Yep. And I really love delphiniums, but this is my best year with delphiniums. But I know they don't last long, do they?
It depends. The first one I had was like 15 years old, and then I found out they were finicky, and it died on me.
Oh, I'll just pretend it's not.
Okay.
So in this garden, I'm trying to outline all my beds with curly allium.
Can we go in?
Sure. It's a little harder to walk. It's rocks. And obviously some clematises. I get a little nutty with them. And this I'm trying to redo because I had these 4 corners. One is totally buried in here in plants.
Oh, I see.
So I got to dig all this out. But, you know, only so much time in a day. But there's another clematis back there, and there's one here, and then there's 4 around here. And
well,
2.
You've got a couple on this one, huh?
4.
4 different ones
Yep,
on here?
4 different ones. One's a new one on the other side, and I don't even remember which color the other one is supposed to be. And this is sage.
And I see we have another one on the wheel back there.
Yes, that's Arabella that was close to Annabelle's name, so I've had that for probably 10, 15 years.
And just so our viewers know, Annabelle is your granddaughter.
Yeah, she's my granddaughter. And then this is one of my favorites. This is lovage. And if you ever go, I never have to buy celery.
I used to have lovage.
It's a little stronger than celery, so I dry it and cut it very sparingly.
Okay.
And that's the Angelique, remember I got from you in the middle?
Oh,
she's
the Angelica
a little
over
buried.
there.
Yeah, Angelica. I don't know what she's going to be doing. But there's all kinds of mints. This is blue heaven grass, which I enjoy. This is a really fun plant. This is called the voodoo lily.
Wow.
And we planted her a little late because she normally gets to be about 5 feet tall, and she's got 2 shoots. So what happens on the corm, last year it was 9 pounds. It was about this big, and they can be up to 35 pounds. So then we bring it in the fall, cut this off, and we just set it in a cardboard box in the basement. And then in December it gets a little tiny shoot, and it comes up. It grew 4 inches a night, and it turned into a it's almost, I can't think of the other name. I'll try and find a picture. Very pretty, but she smells for 2 days like dead mice because she's trying to attract pollinators. But it's worth it. It's kind of a pretty plant.
I've only ever seen the bloom. I don't think I've ever seen the...
I mean, literally, she's usually taller than me. But I'm not sure now what to do with 2 shoots. You know,
I don't know if the bulb is splitting or...
Yep, I don't know. And this rose, my husband started, he's 84. And he found this at Lake Nokomis, I think it was, when he was like 10 years old. So we've had it at every house we've lived in, and our kids have a chunk of it too. I wish he'd just let me trim it better. I just call this my secret garden gate. Just grows over it. And then Frank got me this. We lived in Chan, and they were burning all the barns down and getting rid of them. And one day he came back with the van. He said, "I got something for you." He'd climbed up and got the cupola for me. Well, it's kind of been falling apart, and I said, "I need something to put it on." And so my son-in-law said, "I'll weld you a Gambian." It can be very
nice
helpful.
to have talented people.
Yes.
Let's start with the hollyhocks here.
Yeah. They do better, and they do it all by themselves.
Well, I found it took me years to get them started, and now there are days when I regret it.
Yes.
Because they
And my
come up-
husband loves them, but I just had to dig some out when he wasn't looking because I bought this larch a few years ago, and they were right here. So I went.
Some of you have to go.
Gotta go bye-bye. And this is our veggie garden. I've had these 4 boxwoods for 2 years now, and I got them at Walmart. But I've mulched them.
Okay.
I thought that was kind of fun.
Especially.
This is not our better
green
year for veggies. But these are, we got these at Stockman's. And that
Okay,
row
well,
over there is called
let's
Patterson,
start with the
which is our last
hollyhocks
name.
here then.
And they're supposed to be really good keepers.
That's a new one. It's kind of a replacement.
Cool.
Well, I found it took me years to
So
get
we
them
got
started.
a ton of
and
beets coming.
Now there are
ready to
days
pick,
when I
actually.
regret it.
Yep, and because we
Because
love
they come
beets.
up-
I mean, we could eat them every day. And then peppers and potatoes, carrots on the other side. I was out here, we have 3 stray cats that came last fall. I was out here a couple days ago and the male walked up that wall, up to where it's kind of, there's 4 paint boards. He walked up the boards and snuck in that hole. I mean, they're just a
The
goofy.
Matrix.
So, and there's another clematis. And another
You
one,
do
and
have
another
them
one.
everywhere.
Frank said, my husband said, do you have to put clematises on the fence? I said, well, why not? I don't know why not. So this is an alpine clematis. It's called Blue Dancer. And the nice thing about alpines is that they usually bloom in May, very, very early.
Oh.
And then they bloom again. I have a pink one that I don't see any buds. This was an old, there's a bunch of rocks with the hostas. If the hostas aren't there, you'd see it's a framework or the foundation for a tool place or something for the farm. Yeah. Yep. And this I got because we're going to make a gazebo out of it. Well, this is as far as we got. So we need a little free time. You know, all of a sudden our kids had kids. So I've got a ginkgo here and a maple. That just came up by itself. So did the maple, and I planted the ginkgo.
Oh, you got some Montana over here.
Yep, yep. I don't remember a lot of the names, but I do have a schematic for most of them. And what I was trying to do here, I don't know, it's kind of hard to see from here, is that's golden, oh, I can't think of the name.
Gold standard.
No, but there's a curve there, and then I did a curve around that way of the same plants. So I was trying to make areas, but you can only do so much. I've had these 3 for 3 years. This is as big as this one gets.
The hookaruk.
Yeah, fire lime. I got it because my son is a fireman,
Firefighter.
and I thought, well, but I kind of just did this around the black walnuts because I could.
And they live.
They live. Yeah, they do just fine. And then my son-in-law came up with the bobcat one day, and he had this big rock. He said, so, Grandma, what do I do? I put it there, I guess. I don't know. So we put that there. Now he has a great big flat limestone one. So he said, I think you should just move all this forward, and we'll put a table here.
I love that
So you
rock.
can, yeah, I do too. Well, and then the farmer came out years ago with this one. And he said, what, you want the rock? I said, yeah. Where should I put it? I said, well, I think right there. So, and I got that pot. My daughter and I did landscaping for years. And this guy he said, get me the biggest pot you can find. So we found from the Arboretum, who they got him from, put it in his yard, and he said, what the hell, that's too big a pot. So I got it. So, this was the barn that was here when we got here. Established 1863. This originally was my grass garden.
Oh, how pretty.
And then I decided I wanted more than grass, I wanted some color. So, and this is getting a little too much, but this is that Souvenir de Chandray catnip.
Ah,
It's really kind of pretty down here.
it is pretty, but
Yeah.
I have to say I got rid of mine.
It spreads pretty.
Yeah, I got tired of.
I just come with the weed whacker and go. And this is Maltese Cross.
We've been seeing that a lot lately in our.
I got it from one of the master gardeners at a plant sale.
Gee, imagine that.
And then this one, these are kind of different plants. This is a lead plant. It's a prairie plant, a native prairie plant, which I always think is kind of cool. And then that's a meadow rue. That's a native one, not like black stockings and stuff. A lot of these I'm not even sure what they are. But
Is that St. John's wort?
yep, yep. And a cardinal flower I got at Runnings.
Ah,
And I have a little path going through here. I think it's gotten so overgrown I can't get in there now. And this is my Lespedisia. Do they get that big?
yeah.
Can I cut it back when
I
it's done
cut,
flowering?
I cut mine back in the spring. I cut it to the ground, and that keeps it a little bit smaller.
Okay, I did it in the fall.
Well, it should work too, but
Echinaceas. This one I'm really excited about. It's a gentian, blue gentian.
oh,
So it's
that'll
traded
be
lost
pretty
in.
when it blooms.
Yeah.
Some more.
It says Queen of the Prairie.
Oh, okay.
And I have the big pink one, but it's not blooming yet. And I
Okay.
have a lot of cup plants. I actually have a video how, it's got a square stem and the leaves cup around the stem. And when it rains, it fills with water and the birds actually go in there and drink out of the water. And I love Baptisias. This is yellow, no. And there's purple, pink, and another blue one. I just like that upright background stuff.
Well, I kind of like the blue color of the leaves.
Yes, I do too. Yeah, I do too.
Okay, we've got Joe Pieweed over here that's getting buds.
Yep.
Some cone flowers coming in, balloon flowers.
Sedum. That's a moonshadow pagoda dogwood.
There's a variegated one back there. That's pretty.
Yeah, I really like that.
I like pagoda dogwoods. Yeah, we got. Why don't you talk about
Yeah,
this?
well, this is Miscanthus giganteus, and it gets 10 feet tall, if not more. They talked at one time about using it as a biofuel, and I was just into all the grasses, so I
Had to have one.
Huh?
Had to have
You
one.
had to have
right?
one. And this one under here is called Rattlesnake Master. These are some prairie plants. And I don't know what's going on with this one, but this one is also the prairie coneflower, one of them, I think. And I have no idea. I've been watering. And that's a swamp mallow. I got these for $2 at Halosik, I think.
Oh.
And there's another one. I don't know which one that is. This one. World milkweed.
Oh, I've heard of that one. I have not grown it. Can you tell me what hydrangea that is?
No,
or-
I have no idea.
You have no idea.
Nope. I got it as a gift and nobody knew what it was.
Okay.
So, should we go back up in through the shady part? And then I had, remember Chris Schrader, whatever?
Yep.
She came out and she did an article for the paper, and it came out that this was called my dirty garden. Because we have Love Pat, Climax, Seducer, and this one was the best. This is Little Stiffy. And I said, I didn't name them. They're just that way. And this is one of my favorite, these ferns. I love these. See how they cross? This is
Yeah.
Dre's Dagger.
I've got that one too.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, fun.
It looks so delicate.
Yep. And again, I try and be kind of symmetrical. So up here I've got a Jack of Diamonds and a fern and a Virginia. I try and have it kind of so it looks cohesive. It's supposed to be a mega large heuchera, but this is its third year. It's not what I call mega, but then it's better than those flames over there in the other garden that are an inch. So, and
It's alive and
it's alive.
and it's a decent size.
I have a brother.
Call that a win.
I have a brother that I left home when he was 5. So big age difference. We didn't really grow up together per se. And he's gotten into gardening. And it's like an every other day call. Did your mega heuchera get any bigger? We're having great fun. This is what I called my woodland garden, mostly because Frank and I brought the interrupted fern from our house in Chanhassen. And then these are all hellebores that I'm working hard at getting. And these are tiarellas. And this is a masterwort. I put the garden, see I have plenty of that. So, and I love these cranesbill geraniums.
Oh, that's a pretty white, you know.
It's called Freckles.
Freckles.
I think that was the name it was years ago. I got that from Angie. And then the plain white, and they tried to put the whiter.
I love that really upright growth habit and that little bits of lavender on the
Just
white.
a little touch. And this is my arbor. Frank had made me one out of wood years when we first moved out here, and it blew down finally. So my son-in-law welded this for me, for my
Nice
classes.
to have a.
Yes, all our kids are really, really helpful. My son-in-law brings out these logs that are too big for us to split, so he put product in and exploded them. And this one stayed intact, so we found a mirror and stuck behind it. We had kids come up, how'd you get the hole in the tree? This is my mini garden. Yeah, this is Restless Sea is one of them. Gotten a little away from the minis here, but not too bad.
Yeah.
This one's Pebbles, I think. And that's
Oh,
Aurelia.
The
Way in
one
the
with
back.
the real corrugated
Yeah,
leaf.
that's. Oh, and this is a mix. Do you remember the name of the pine we put in here, Frank? Twist and Shout. Twist and Shout, I think.
Oh, that little dwarf
Yeah.
pine.
Yes. I had it on top of the rock garden, and I think it was too hot, so I'm putting it here.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I
it's
love
just-
the way the needles are.
Nadine's is kind of, we bought it at the same time. It's a nice little shrub.
Oh,
So I'm really excited. I'm hoping it's going to take off. I felt I had to move it. Made me feel bad. And this is one I got at the plant sale, and I still have the tag. It says, oh, I shouldn't move it. Radiant Star needs TLC.
there. This
Yep,
this one.
this
Yep.
one. Yep.
Yep. I have that one.
Why does it need TLC?
I don't know. Mine is done. I mean, it's not a fast grower by any means.
But see, she's getting, here's a little leaf, and here's a couple more.
Yeah, I see that.
I'm going to have to dig some of these out. And leave
Maybe
that one off.
might need a little more space there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. This hosta's it's called lemony yellow because it claims it's the only one that has a yellow flower. And to me, it looks a little border, but
And what's your little one down there? Do you happen to know?
cameo.
Cameo. Oh, okay,
Does
they're
that look
very
like cameo?
similar.
Yeah. I used to remember Fire and Ice. And these we got from Jerry Brown. They came up in the middle of my hostas. They're Pinellia. Is that how they pronounce it? Pinella?
I think so. I'm not quite sure.
And they look like little mini Jack in the pulpits. They get a little tall. They're just cool. They're so tiny. Well, this was almost a little bit of an argument between Frank and I. I came home from being with my daughter, and he had trimmed, I don't know, some of these bottom branches. I said, well, this is cool. I'm going to plant some hostas here. And he came back, he said, do you have to put hostas everywhere?
And you said, yeah.
I said, you're going to try and tell me where I can put hostas? Ain't going to happen. Again, I did a circle of the golden tiara because that's where I started. I just did this.
Okay.
Then it's kind of expanded. But I have not weeded in here. I used the hedger to cut back here. And I love, goodness gracious.
Oh, yes, that's quite a hosta over there.
Yeah.
The lime leaf with the dark
Yeah.
center.
And I think this is Restless Sea.
Either that or Neptune.
Could be Neptune. I think Restless Sea is smaller. And a toad lily, the tall thing in the
Oh,
back.
yeah.
There's two there, and there's one little grouping right there behind you.
I have one that survives. It's not, I wouldn't say it thrives for me, but it survives.
Well, this is last year's the first year I had them blooming. So I'm hoping. And this is a very interesting plant. If you want some of this, I don't think everybody has, it's painted palette.
No.
You don't like it?
Oh, I love it, but I've heard too many horror stories about it.
I get like 3 little babies each year, and that's it.
Really.
Yeah.
And yours doesn't seem to be running amok.
No. I've got more up by the deck, but it's still not running amok.
It might be the drier conditions
Yeah,
down
and
here.
I think under the pine stuff is. This is very difficult to keep the chickens from destroying everything. And yet I like that pine mulch, but this is my bid to a fairy garden. And I normally don't put anything out, just the plants are small. But my girlfriend came with her grandkids, so I put some of the little garp out. This is just our bird feeder area. We thoroughly enjoy the birds here. We had 14 orioles at a time this spring.
Wow. And this is your rock garden over here.
Yes, and I have not done a thing with this because both my knees were so bad I couldn't climb up and fool around with it. So this is going to be a gutting thing. absolutely. But I can show you my,
Got some grasses, some more of the St. John's wort here.
yeah, this is Blonde Ambition. That's a bristlecone pine. That shouldn't
Okay.
get much bigger than that, we're hoping. And this clematis is non-climbing, and it's called integrifolia, and it's got white, pink, and blue flowers on it. But non-climbing doesn't mean it doesn't spread.
Or flop over.
Yeah. Well, no, they spread all over in here.
Oh.
And they're either, and I've never seen clematis do, I mean, look at, and you can't hardly dig them out. But when you do that, because it's a hybrid, you won't always, like this one's all blue.
So you don't know what you're going to
You're
get.
not, you may not get pink, blue, and white. Because when I've given it to people, they say, well, mine's white. Well,
And see, mine is the pink.
here's the pink. And this, my husband made these steps, which I love. And this is a prickly pear cactus that we found at an empty house, and took one little tiny chunk, and this spring it was totally covered with yellow flowers this big.
blooms.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And
They
that's
are
Dark
beautiful.
Warrior up on top.
I have a rule against things that bite me when I try to weed them.
I leave this to Frank. And then see, this is another alpine clematis, and it's reblooming. It's got pink flowers here.
Oh, it's got buds.
Yeah, here's
Yeah.
a Minnesota mammoth mum, and it's a perennial, which mums normally aren't. But I think you have to be careful if you get just a mammoth mum. Does not mean it was developed by the university, and it might not be as hardy because other people have gotten them and they don't make it.
Oh, mine survives. It just never gets that big.
So then this part over here, Frank started with the retaining wall. And he said, I'm getting kind of tired of that. And I said, well, you know, I can do something with that. So we just piled a few rocks down, and I just keep putting more hostas in there, but I'm done now with that.
Oh, I've heard that one before.
And this is Himalaya geranium. Himalayan cranesbill,
Okay.
which I really like those. These were two, I have two of these that came from Frank's aunt, who was 98 when she died. And
Oh, the
Frank,
containers?
yeah, I just loved them when she was at her house. But Frank said, don't put the dirt.
Oh, because you don't want the expansion.
Yeah, it's cracking.
Yeah. So you
So-
just put the pot in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, worked a little better. Needs water. And then same thing here, he did the retaining wall, and I decided we can't just have retaining wall.
Got to plant it.
Got to plant something. And these are heucheras that we got at a job, my daughter did.
Oh, those are cute little leaves.
Aren't they cute? And they bloom and bloom and bloom. So my goal is here, see, these are blue heaven grasses, babies.
Oh.
My goal here is to have this all mulched, instead of mulch, having the ajuga.
The juga as a ground
Yeah,
cover.
so I don't have to weed this spot. And I haven't quite got it all done. This is Frank's, the Rosa rugosas that he loves. And I'm trying to get some of those little heucheras started on this side, so I got a little grouping on each end. And these are all irises we got from the plant sale. And then this is another clematis, it's called Chloe, and she was said to be a hedge. But it's pretty, whatever it is.
So you've got some wild petunias in here
Yeah, ground cover.
as the ground cover, and some veronicas,
And
heucheras.
that back there is an eye-toe peony. Had great big yellow flowers, and it's a cross between a herbaceous peony and a tree peony, so they don't flop. They stand upright.
They have nice strong stems.
Yep. And the other stuff is a brown-eyed Susan that comes back, and then the short stuff I've cut is caradonna.
Sylvia.
Yeah, that blooms purple. And then the Russian sage. Then there's another. Can you see that? Let's go
In back.
Yeah, I'm back. It's Wyvale strain clematis. It's really thick stems, but it gets little tiny, tiny blue flowers,
Oh,
and they
wow.
smell just like ivory soap.
Those are heavy-duty stems.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
for
they
a
just.
clematis,
It's not like a. They're usually kind of delicate and.
yeah, that one looks like it's pretty, pretty sturdy.
Yep. I got a moonflower, and I planted it there because it's an annual, but I want to grow along this way. Last year we planted it out there in the arbor. You have to go out at 10 at night to see the flowers. And then he said, why'd you put this here? And I said, well, I didn't put it there, it grew there.
So it'll have the white flowers and they open up at night.
Yep, they open at night and they attract moths and nice bugs.
It looks like you've got some globe thistle here too.
Globe thistle. Gems that were yellow. This is monkshood. It's purple in the fall bloom. And then there's a bicolor one here. This is blue and white. And Frank's been trying to propagate the Rosa rugosa. There's a white one, there's one little flower down there. And this is another integrifolia, but it's a different one, but it does all blue flowers.
Okay.
And then this is a, well, I think it's a type of an old Baptisia, yellow flowers, but they don't last long.
It's not a thermopsis, is it? They got very similar flower
Well,
leaves.
let me use my app. Let's find out. I never thought about that.
They look very similar to the Baptisia.
I always figured it wasn't really a Baptisia. It blooms really early.
Yeah.
False lupin, thermopsis. Learn something new every day. Love it. Now if I could, I'm waiting for an app that will tell us what the hostas are. Not sure that's going to happen.
Good luck.
Yeah. And this hosta is stained glass. And I thought I had all the same heucheras here, but obviously...
Surprises happen in the garden.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, well, thank you, Andrea. I think that's a wrap. Thanks for letting us view your gardens and taking us around. I'm sure our viewers are going to see lots of fun things, and they're probably going to have lots of questions. But thanks again, and we'll see you next time in the garden.
It's been fun to have you guys. Thank you.